All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. All right. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Oh my days. We are back. We are gonna be challenging for this top four. I mean, we were all confident moving into the game, but to actually go out there and get the 3 points with the way we played, we were in control. The total game, we were in control. Even in the second half, when Spurs looked like they were sort of having some opportunities, but that was natural. Obviously, at home, they're going to come at us. But we defended well. The structure in defense, the structure in counter. I'm so excited, Nishal. First of all, how are you doing, my man?
I'm just as happy as you are, Miz. Very happy to be back on the other side of a coin as well. Of course, I had a one-match break, have a bridge, but so good to be back. And what a result to come back to as well. Lots to talk about and lots to celebrate after tonight.
100%, my man. First of all, massive shout out to the people that are already flocked in here. Kudos to you guys. Aziz, Soccer Turtle, Extreme, Etesham, iTest, Extreme HD. Thank you, guys. Honestly, thank you so much to everyone that's come in and who's, more people are going to come through throughout the match. We've got Jimmy Funnel coming through very soon. Hopefully he'll log on. But let's get straight into this, man. First of all, Nishal, I want to hear from you some opening statements about your feeling of how we played. And then obviously I'll give my opening thoughts as well. And then we'll slowly move into the whole game. So go ahead, my man. It's your time.
Well, it was very positive from the start. You know, we had a great result against Burnley. No goals conceded in our first two games under Thomas Tuchel. I'll pause quickly because we've got our third guest, if you'd like to introduce him.
Jimmy, my man, how you doing?
Yeah. Sorry. Took a while to find a quiet place.
I'm going to introduce you as soon as Nishal finishes off his first part. Go ahead, Nishal, man.
Introduce him now, but people need to know who's talking.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Nishal. Guys, got Jimmy Funnel here. Obviously, you guys know that he was here previously in one of the reviews. He's here to join us as well. Got all his information in the description. Follow him, guys. But Jimmy, my man, how you feeling after that? How you doing?
Yeah, I mean, footballing-wise, great. A bit knackered from a hard day's work, but otherwise, brilliant result. It was a bit nerve-wracking the last 20 minutes, but yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Very good spirits, but that second goal, that would have been pretty nice. would have calmed me a bit more. But yes, fantastic win.
Nah, absolutely. I hear you, man. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but I felt confident, man. I just thought that defensively our structure looked very good. Besides that one header right at the end, and of course they were going to obviously have one chance in the match. But yeah, Nishal, go on, man. Your time to shine. Need to hear what you have to say.
Well, we were going into this game very positive with lots of hope of a great result. Of course, we've had two really strong opening results under Thomas Tuchel. The 2-0 win against Burnley, perfect. Exactly what we wanted going into this derby. I think we started the game really well. Very pleased by what I saw. We went straight out. Yes, the goal came through a penalty, but we really deserved that. We were excellent throughout the game. Had a really strong first half. Second half, of course, the dynamic of the game changed. But we still were in it. We controlled it.
Yeah.
We could have got a second goal. I think that's a
100%.
big talking point and critique for me because I saw the same against Burnley. My main critique in the last game was we kept Burnley in the game for far too long until Marcos Alonso got that second goal. We could have seen the same today, but we defended very well. Tuchel knew what he was doing, bringing on Conte to short the midfield. We managed the game perfectly to beat Jose Mourinho, and we're up to 6th. Massive derby win.
Absolutely, man. Apparently, this is Jose Mourinho's first time losing 2 back-to-back games at home. So what a moment. First of all, shout out to iTest for the super chat. And this is exactly what Nishal just said. We broke down Jose Bus. Need to be clinical, though, 100%. I think that is probably the biggest criticism here, that we had plenty of chances to go 2-0 up. We created some really good chances to do that, but it just let us down. But now let's hear some opening statements from Jimmy. Jimmy, my man, just some opening thoughts from yourself about the game before we sort of dig deep into this.
Yeah, I mean, we did have quite a few chances, but only 2 on target. That's something to work on. But generally, the first half was brilliant. I think that was the best half of football for quite a while.
Yeah.
to be fair, Spurs really did invite the pressure, but we controlled the game. I thought Jorginho and Kovacic were really, really good. It's just
superb.
They might not be the most creative players, but you can't pressure them. With Jorginho, Kovacic, that was bam, 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 and it just worked. And Kovacic's line-breaking runs, they make such a difference. I mean, he was tired at the end, but I have to tell you, when Kante came on, I thought we looked a bit unbalanced. We invited more pressure, or it invited more pressure. Not that Kante did that on purpose, but it's just that duo and the double pivot is working so well at the moment, and it's just so fluent, and it's just not, Kante's got his fortes. We know all that. He's a world-class player, but to just make that quick turn and then, I mean, Kovacic, that's just his, that's his virtue. He's so good at that, and he showed that today. And he was a nightmare to play against, I'm sure. And that we did miss a bit, but otherwise, I don't want to be too overly critical. That was such an important win today, and what I loved was that Jorginho actually just, used brute force for once, and not just that little step. And I think he did. I'm not sure if he caught Lloris out because of that, because maybe he was expecting it, but because he did go that way. But great penalty, and I really thought it was all over after Thiago Silva had to come off. That was, oh my God, that was so. I saw a comment on Twitter which is pretty fitting. It felt as if we conceded a goal, and it was that bad, because I think I jinxed it 5 minutes beforehand. I wrote Thiago Silva's a cheat code, and then because he really is, that I can't believe that this guy's.
Prior to him getting injured, I actually commented out Thiago Silva's man of the match so far, because he intercepted, his positioning, his last-ditch tackling was so superb. And going back to your double sixes of Kovacic and Jorginho, guys, these two have got so much stick in the fan base over the last couple of days, because many thought that they can't handle Ndombele, Sissoko, Højbjerg. But my word, they made them look like nothing. They controlled it. Jorginho, as you said, Jimmy, he was standing up. He stood up to the challenges. He did not get bodied that many times.
No.
He intercepted. He waited for the nice passes. He just played around with them. And as you said, Kovacic through the middle. To all the people that have always asked me, what does Kovacic do? What does he bring to the team? Please watch this game. Please watch this. I don't need to say anything. Watch this game and simply watch Kovacic, and you'll see what he does. But I'm excited, guys, honestly, about this whole match. We needed to win, as both of you boys have mentioned. In order to stay into the top 4 race, we needed this victory. And I'm so glad that we got this. And the best part about this whole Thomas Tuchel era so far is I'm seeing incremental improvement every game. Every game. Wolves, we played decent. Burnley, we got better. Tottenham, we're getting better. And I just hope that this continues on and we continue getting better. His tinkering of the lineup is fantastic. Let's get straight into this, guys. Let's talk about this lineup right now. It'll be interesting. Sorry, I've got the tactical board as well. We got it all today. We got it all. We're going to entertain everyone today. Nishal, first of all, I'll go to you, and then I'll go to Jimmy. Nishal, when you looked at this lineup, personally, when I looked at this lineup, I was happy. I had no complaints. I knew that he was going to go with the same back three. He was going to go for the same double sixes. Obviously, a bit of tweak up front. I hoped that ZH started, but then again, I don't mind the Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, and Werner. Werner was probably the only surprise. I just thought that Spurs playing deep, how much of an impact Werner would have been, but he gets that penalty. But Nishal, from your point of view, man, when you saw this lineup, how'd you feel?
I spoke about the team and the predicted lineup before the game, and my main thing was, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And that's what we saw today. One change from the last game, Reece James coming in for Tammy Abraham. No real complaints in that matter. There were a few surprises I had. I said I thought Kante should have started if he was fully fit. Obviously, that's fine. Trust Tuchel. but I was surprised to see him on the bench. Supposed to be Hakim Ziyech on the bench as well. Of course, he was rested. He needed that timeout, but he just came back to be among the substitutes. A bit surprised, but then again, what do you need to change? We were solid at the back. We were good going forward. There wasn't much we needed to change. And it was good that the only change we had was letting Callum Hudson-Odoi go back into his natural position out wide with Reece James coming back, our wing back, because not only is James back in his natural position, but we know how deadly that right-hand side can be. When Reece and Callum link up, they are absolutely outstanding together. It's good to see Marcus Alonso starting as well. We know he loves scoring against Tottenham. We know he loves the London derby. And a midfield pivot as well. A lot of the criticism we still saw after Wolves and Burnley, a lot of the criticism directed to Kovacic and Jorginho was, well, we see them do this against mediocre teams. Obviously, no disrespect to Burnley, and I don't see it that way. But can they do it against the big teams? Today, we clearly saw, yes, they can.
I must say, man, a massive shout out to you, Nishal, in regards to Alonso. Alonso defensively was pretty good today. A lot of people have been questioning him defensively. I thought today he did his job. He tracked back. He even tried to show the pace as well, which we never thought he had. He tried to keep pace. But Jimmy, my man, obviously the lineup, give us your thoughts, but also the subs. The subs were strong. Look at the kind of caliber of players that we've got in there. Chilwell, Christensen, Emerson, Kante, Ziyech, Pulisic, Abraham Giroud. There's a lot of firepower from the bench as well. What do you think? Yeah,
there is. I'm a bit worried for Ziyech, to be quite honest, because with this gegenpressing, which Tuchel is basically implementing, you need to work really, really hard. Your fitness levels have to be very, very high. And we all know Ziyech is one hell of a player, creatively speaking, but it's not a huge part of his game that he's constantly tracking back. Callum Hudson-Odoi, to be fair, wasn't always like that. How he is now, and the guy is tracking back constantly. I think he's just so improved over the last year, and they hounded him, but he improved in that area, and that's something that a lot of other players should take as an example, even if he's only 20 years old. And I like Callum Hudson-Odoi both as a wing back, but also in that inside forward role. Because he wasn't really playing a winger today. He wasn't constantly out on the wing trying to take them on, but cutting inside, working well together, as Nishal said, with Reece James. That combination, I think, that's going to give some opponents hell in the near future. That works really, really well. I'm glad that Tuchel already sees that. So exciting, very, very exciting. And don't want to hop around, but I forgot to say this in my initial statement. Mason Mount, take a bow. This guy has gone through a bit in the last few weeks, and he's just establishing himself as this integral cog, in this machinery of Tuchel's, way of playing. And I can't see a lineup without him in the moment. In that inside forward role, he works. When he played out on the wing in the 3-4-3 for Lampard, it's just not his strength. But in the inside forward role, he was constantly in their faces, and that we really need a term for that turn of his. That turn he makes just turns them.
How many times he got the fouls
chance
as well off the back of that turn?
Yeah.
Every time he turned, he got himself a foul.
Yeah, or he got past, and so that's fantastic. Huge shout out to him. So many fans, let's say, who get on his back and call him, incompetent and lazy and not good enough. But what he brings to the table is just absolutely unbelievable.
100%, man. Look, I've seen some comments over here that they didn't appreciate Mount's finishing, and that's probably the only thing that I can complain about. But besides that, I thought Mason played really well. His energy through the middle, his intensity, his pressing, the way he wins the ball back, and what you've said, Jimmy, his turn in order to get past the defender or past Spurs players, and also to attract fouls. The only thing is probably his passing. I suppose there were a few times where he had a beautiful drive through the middle, and he just couldn't find that clinical passing and that finishing as well at times, his shooting. But we know he's a very good shooter. It'll come good, guys. Just hang in there. But for me, that was a very, very good game from Mason Mount. Guys, let's get straight into this whole tactical thing. And then we'll obviously, as we're talking about that, we'll understand a little bit more about the game as well. Nishal, I'll go to you first up. I want to talk about the first goal that we scored. And massive shout out has to be there for Azpilicueta as well. We did talk about Reece James over here, and obviously Calamanton Odoi on this side, linking up beautifully. But let's not forget the fact that Azpilicueta along these areas, putting in those long balls, and that long ball went up to Werner around this area, and obviously clumsy from Dyer. But what's your thoughts about the first goal in regards to Azpilicueta's hand in the whole situation?
In regards to Azpilicueta, we saw exactly what we saw for his goal against Burnley. With that freedom, driving up from defence, I think it was a 75-yard run, with a move building from Mount to Hudson-Odoi, made Azpilicueta on the overlap. He had a key role in that, getting that goal on Sunday. And we saw the same sort of runs today. He has that energy. At 31, to be going from all the way back in defence up and supporting the attack as a centre-back is absolutely brilliant. My main praise, though, is to Timo Werner for winning the penalty. It was very, very clumsy from Eric Dyer. Ridiculous challenge. Daft is all I can say. But Timo Werner did really well. He held his ground. He shielded the ball really well as well. As you can see where he is, in and outside the box, chance created. And he won the penalty really well. So all credit to Werner. And Jorginho, of course, as soon as we won the penalty, the number one question was, who's going to take it? Many would argue Timo Werner, going back to the whole Jorginho controversy. But in my opinion, it had to be Jorginho. With all due respect to Werner, yes, he won it, but it was a crucial penalty. He wasn't necessarily up into confidence. He missed his last penalty against Luton. And also that penalty he took was one because we'd won the game, and it was kind of, take this to get your confidence. This was one we needed to take and score. Jorginho, brilliant penalty. Very interesting, not to see the hop, skip and a jump, but ice cold, superb penalty. And he was a match winner. Yeah,
100%, man. As soon as we got the penalty, that was my initial thought as well. Oh, who takes this now? Does Timo take it? Timo's missed one as well. Does Jorginho take it? I felt like his, style has been found out. But it was so great. And this is the thing. It was so good to see players like Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, Jorginho all playing the same team. Lots of leadership in the team. Jorginho steps up. He's got the full beard going on as well. And he's just lined it up and no skip, no hop, and just straight through the through the ball and great finish. Jimmy, I want to talk to you now about. Let's talk a little bit about the Jorginho, Rob, because I felt he was more sort of circulating around here, assisting the centre backs to basically link up with him. And what Jorginho did is generally just either pass it to Azpilicueta, pass it to Cover. At times he would look forward to either Reece James or pass through the middle. Basically just operating around this zone here and allowing Kovacic to sort of be free, more sort of box to box. Talk to us about your performance, Jorginho's performance in regards from yourself.
Well, my performance wasn't that good. I was just sitting there. But Jorginho's performance, every time one of our players, they didn't do too much pressing, at least not in the first half, but in the second they did. Your player's under pressure. Jorginho's there. He gives you that outlet immediately. Every time, people say, oh, only sideways passing. Well, in that role, and to be a bit honest, in many ways, it does seem very similar to Sarri's way of playing with Jorginho, at least. I don't want to call the whole system that. But Jorginho-wise, that's what Jorginho did there. That's what he does then. He's just fantastic at that. And, in that system, in this kind of system, he can't be put under pressure. If he gets doubled, that is a problem. They didn't do that, thankfully, today. And so he was always that outlet. He moved between the lines, and he then, with short passing, decisive passing, got it to Kovacic. Slight body move to the left or to the right, bam, he's through, and he's making one of those amazing runs. The icing on the cake would have been if Kovacic would have actually, in that final third, made a right decision and brought it to. I think there was that one situation where he could have passed out to Reece James, which was completely open. But as said, I don't want to be overly critical. It was a fantastic showing, and Jorginho played a huge part there. And I think, as much criticism as this pairing has had over the last week, that's our main pairing going forward, and they can do it in the big games. They showed it today, and we just need to find out a way how to circumvent, Jorginho getting doubled up. If they play like it they did today, then that's fine. And Jorginho's has to play in.
Do you reckon your man of the match, perhaps? Would you give him your man of the match?
Mason Mount.
Mason Mount.
I mean, it's not even close. I mean, I think you've made a good point. Is if Thiago Silva would have stayed on the pitch, he probably would have been my my man of the match. But as he had to, unfortunately, and let's hope it's not too bad.
Yeah.
As he had to leave the field, Mason Mount, hands down, definitely. But Jorginho, you know what? I'm going to say close third, because Mateo Kovacic would have been my other choice.
No, 100%, man. Lots of good performance. I still think Thiago Silva is a bit of a shout for the man of the match, even though he got injured. I think his performance, the first 20 minutes, was immense. I was in awe of what the way this guy was defending, man. Unbelievable. 37. Oh man, I'm 35. I could only imagine. I could only imagine 30. I could only imagine that one day I could move like that, but that's probably never going to happen. But Nishal, let's get back to this board, because let's talk a little bit about Kovacic, because Jimmy was saying that he would probably be close to being a man of the match as well. How impressed, Nishal, have you been of Kovacic? Because this is another player during Frank Lampard's time got a lot of criticism, man. I'm not going to lie. I gave him a lot of criticism because not because of him as a player. It was more the fact that he did not suit what Frank was trying to do with the lone DM and the attacking eights, because he doesn't fit that mold. But now back into his groove in the double sixes and the way sort of Tuchel plays from the back, and Kova is coming into his groove beautifully, and the way he links up over here with the centre backs and being very press resistant. He's our first outlet from the back sometimes, and then he breaks through the middle and really drives through around these areas, finding the players like Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi. How important is this guy becoming now for us in the midfield?
I feel like Mateo Kovacic has always been an important player for Chelsea. It's just his role has changed under so many managers. Under Mauricio Sarri, we didn't really get to see his quality, especially the ones where we saw in the World Cup and at Real Madrid. Under Frank Lampard last season, he was our player of the season, and deservedly so. But then this season, I couldn't put my finger on why he was so poor. He didn't look the same. He wasn't good enough. He was barely getting into the midfield over Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, and that was because of the system being played. Of course, Frank Lampard played with 2 8s, much more attacking. In between where Mason Mount and Mateo Kovacic are on the map right now, that's where the 8s would be. And Kovacic can play in that position, but in terms of tracking back, when he's stuck so far forward, he's not the best player to be relying on to track back, although he did that very well today. But in the system we have today with a double pivot, he has much more freedom when he's in a two-man midfield of Jorginho, who's sitting back, really protecting the defence. And it allows Kovacic to do what, for me, is his best trait, driving forward, powering forward, creating those chances with those split passes and really pushing our attack forward. He was excellent today. I've been really, really impressed with what I've seen under Tom Tuchel. He's man born again under the German manager, and I'm looking forward to see what he can offer next. Whereas when he's in a 3-man midfield, it was usually Mason Mount who had that responsibility of leading the attack, and N'Golo Conte who had the responsibility of protecting the defence. And they felt like Kovacic was kind of just stuck in the middle. What was his role there? But now we know, in a double six, of course, he's mainly defender. But when we've got a man like that who has a space header to go forward and create chances, if he keeps playing like this.
Your audio is just dropping off. I think we've got you back there. More or less, we've heard what you had to say about Kovacic, and definitely agree, man. 100% agree with how he's changed under Thomas Tuchel and the way we're playing the double sixes. Going back into the board again, Jimmy, I want to now talk about Silva. Obviously, we've touched a little bit about how fantastic he was, but Andres Christensen coming into the match as well. I must say he managed to still do a job. A lot of criticism on Andres Christensen prior to all of this, that he gets bodied, his concentration level is not always there, but looking at our whole defense, Rudiger, Silva, Andres Christensen when he came on as well. I mean, overall, were you happy with the way we were defensively structured? And are you sort of seeing the way Tuchel is got the team, especially during transition, how quickly we go into the formation and we go into this defensive style nicely in order to negate the opposition?
Yes, I mean that's essentially what gegenpressing is. That the defenders don't have to do too much defending because you get the ball immediately back. But I criticize Rudiger a lot, and he hasn't been the best player for quite a while. But today, he was assured on the ball. So credit where credit's due. When I criticize him, I criticize him. But when he plays well, then I have to say that. And he did today. Very assured. There was like one shaky moment, but otherwise good passing. There was like this one cross-field pass, which was absolute mint. That was brilliant. He played very well. And, for Christensen to come in to, replace our arguably best player of the night at that time, that's some big boots to fill. And, Tottenham might have been sitting back. There's still a force to be reckoned with. So Son and Bergwijn, who's really pacey. And the thing is with Christensen, he's had his best games for us when he played in the middle of a three, you might argue. And I actually have to agree with that because that's where he can control the game. But he has more protection from the left and the right. He has that double pivot in front of him. And so he could pick up pretty good positions. There was even that one time where he bombed forward because he had a bit of space, which was made for him in front of him. He made it also a bit himself, but
I remember that one.
You just felt as if Christensen, he knew how big a moment that is for him, and he stepped up to the task. That has to be said. For all the lack of physicality and that he has to be toughen up and all that, he did well today. He got in some great headers. He was made some absolutely vital clearances when they had some set plays. So, yeah, a good performance from Christensen, an assured one. And, we already spoke about Azpilicueta. The positions he takes up is just such fantastic support in this system. So, nothing more to be said there. Everyone knows how good he is as that right centre-back. But shout outs to Christensen and to Rudiger because they really did well today. And they were aware and alert when needed. So that worked very, very well.
100% agree with everything that you've said, Jimmy. I mean, honestly, this is a shout out. First of all, shout out to 63 people that are on. Please smash that like button. Get in on the act over here. Comment. I'm trying to put as many comments as possible in the screen. But, just quickly, Rudiger gets so much stick. And in recent times, he's got a lot of stick, honestly. But he's been performing well. Besides that Leicester game, even for Frank Lampard, whenever he was used, I don't think he's been that poor. Besides that Leicester particular performance, I think that was the only one where I felt that he wasn't that great. But this season, whenever Frank kind of wanted him, he was pretty okay. But so far under Thomas Tuchel, I think he's been very, very good. I can't really say that, he's put a foot wrong. And what you said, Jimmy, in regards to the concentration level, every single one of these defenders seem to be switched on. And we've seen it many times how they have that lapse of concentration. Even with Christensen today, fantastic. I just want to quickly show, this is how good we look. This is what I saw when we are without the ball and defending. We are, look at the back five, just brilliantly sort of set up. Like there's literally no room for the opposition to maneuver through us. It'll be interesting to see what happens when we play the likes of City when they have their passing ranges going on. But so far, defensively, we look so structured. The way we're pressing as well, boys, we haven't been talking about that. Let's talk a little bit about our pressing. Nishal, first of all, to you, I feel, I don't know, during Frank's tenure right at the end, that 2 months where it was sort of going south, everything sort of fell apart. The pressing fell apart. It was depressing. I kept on saying our pressing was depressing. But now, Nishal, when we lose the ball, as Jimmy said, the gegenpressing, my goodness, they are so hungry to win the ball back. Your thoughts about our pressing at the moment?
It's much better. It's exactly what Tuchel wants. I've watched videos of him in the past where he talks about his football philosophy, and it's two parts. It's attacking And as soon as we lose the ball, we get it back, we push and we get it back as soon as possible. And we're seeing that under Chelsea. Pressing and getting the ball back is a very important part of football, and especially attacking football. And I think straight away we've seen what that's like under Thomas Tuchel. Yes, again, we make those comparisons to the back end of Frank Lampard. It wasn't necessarily a lack of wanting to press or win the ball back. It was a lack of confidence. It was a lack of drive that the team, didn't have. And that was the whole poor form, poor management, negative atmosphere. Of course, we saw the stories. That's the past. We're looking at it now. We look excellent and we look really positive and actually hungry. And I've said it before, this is what we were lacking under Lampard, however much it hurt.
Oh no. We lost
everything that we need that we were missing from Frank Lampard in the last few weeks of his tenure. The drive, the pressing, the desire to win the ball, and also results above all. So I'm really impressed with our pressing style. And as you said, it'll be very interesting to see how it copes against the teams like Man City, Man United as well at the end of the month. We'll have to see how he comes up against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That'll be a great battle.
100% agreed, man. There's some big tests coming up, but I think so far Thomas Tuchel has been ticking most of the boxes. Jimmy, we've pretty much covered most of the, going back to the board. I think, we've pretty much covered, Mason Mount, Timo Werner. Just let's quickly touch a little bit about Timo Werner, Jimmy. I think this guy there was another opportunity in the second half where we could have gone 2-0. There was a nice ball from Mason Mount. I think he released Timo Werner, but I think his first touch sort of, allowed for the defender to then come in and get that tackle in. How do you I feel like he sometimes snatches on the opportunity, Jimmy. I feel like he needs to just stay calm and composed. Lots of comments here from the live chat in regards to Timo Werner to sort of stick by him. Your thoughts about how to get the best out of this guy, because I feel like his finishing is letting him down at the moment.
Well, the thing is, people were under the impression, this is nothing against Timo Werner because he's a great player, but people were under the impression that because he scored so many goals last season, he's like this ice cold killer who converts each and every chance. No, Timo Werner, if you watch him at Leipzig and already beforehand at Stuttgart, he needs a lot of chances to score. Not as many as he does now because he's been on the draw. This is like one of the worst runs he's had, if not the worst in his career. I mean, there was also one at Stuttgart was really bad, but at this level, of course, you'd expect more, and for the money that he cost. But he's trying. He brought us that penalty. He tried to get in, run down the channels and get into good positions. He was overlooked, unfortunately, in those very important moments. But he tries to shoot. There was, I think, one shot where it really smacked against Eric Dyer. That was on goal. So theoretically, if he weren't standing there, that might have gone in. You never know. But of course, he's low on confidence now, and he wasn't decisive enough today. And again, Tammy Abraham has been scoring, but against the FA Cup and all that, I haven't been too impressed by him. I mean, he's a great player as well, and it's good to have him in the team, but his hold-up play is just not good enough. Yeah, and
I guess that's probably one of the reasons why he got hooked off at half-time against
presumably
Burnley.
Exactly, because Timo Werner, of course, hold-up play. That's not Timo Werner, but Tuchel will not play. Won't give the instructions to play that way if Timo Werner's on the pitch. But because of his size, Tammy Abraham kind of invites that. Oh yes, he can have that hold up play. He just doesn't have that. If there's one major point of criticism, even for him being not too clinical, it's his hold up play, because that drives me insane. While, for example, Olivier Giroud, he didn't look at all good against Wolves, but that was the first game. But hold up play, he does offer that. But for this extremely intense and very demanding system that we play, I'm not sure that Olivier Giroud's up for it, because
agreed.
The strike is the first line of pressing and the first line of defense in this kind of system. And if the striker slacks off a bit, and Timo Werner was knackered at the end, let's be honest, but in those last 5 minutes, he just, he fell off a bit. When he was pressing front, he just let them pass by, he didn't track back. and that invited pressure. And this whole system relies on each and every one of these players to immediately hound the opponent off the ball. So that is something that Giroud doesn't necessarily bring to the table. Tammy Abraham can do that, but the hold-up play. So Timo Werner is still our best option up front. He will break his duck, but just to come back to the initial point, he is not someone who is an ice-cold finisher. He needs his chances. I'm not quite sure where this assumption has come that he basically, he takes a shot, it's a goal. Yes, he scored a lot of goals last season, but that's not Timo Werner. Ask any Bundesliga fan who watched him at Leipzig. He'll need about 3 or 4 chances, bam, in. Of course, that wasn't always the case, but Timo Werner is a confidence player. Tuchel said as much because he knows him. He hasn't coached him yet, but of course he does know him because he analyzes his players very extensively. So just give it time. He contributed very positively today. Don't be overcritical. There's no point. That would just rob him more of his confidence, and we'll be back to square one.
No, 100%. Yesterday I was at Matisse's show with Yunus, and we were sort of talking about who should start. And all 3 of us had a different selection. I had Tammy Abraham, Matisse had Giroud, and Yunus had Timo Werner. And that just tells you where the Chelsea fan base is at the moment in regards to the striking situation. And I think now I completely understand why there's rumors about Haaland that's materializing, because if the fan base can't sort of pick out the one striker that needs to start game in, game out, well, I'm pretty sure Roman himself probably knows that, well, that's not good enough. We need a particular striker that we can put our hand on our heart and say, this man needs to start every game. And right now, we don't have that. I hope, as you said, Jimmy, that, down the track, Timo, I think what I like about Timo is he enjoys playing with the 2 inside forwards. That's one thing I've realized. He doesn't like being the sole sort of striker up front. He likes the...
No, he needs the support.
He needs the support. And even when he plays with Tammy, say Tammy plays up front and he plays just alongside him, he likes that. So as you said, he definitely needs the support. He cannot play by himself. So, that's something down the track. It's going to be very interesting to see how Tuchel sort of looks into that and how he gets the best out of Timo Werner. Look, if Timo Werner fires for us, guys, it's going to be epic. We're going to win a lot more games. We're going to be closer to the top half of the table. So we need to hope that this guy turns around for us. Guys, before we get into the... go on, Nishal.
Miz, if I could just mention, you talk about the divide in who we see as our striker right now. It's not just a divide in the fan base. It's a divide within Tuchel. Let's look at 3 of our league games against Fulham. Giroud started up top. Against Wolves, against Burnley, Tammy Abraham started up top. Against Tottenham, Timo Werner started up top. Yes, he's a new manager, but even Thomas Tuchel doesn't know who our top choice striker is. And we make the argument about, none of them are really in form. Yes, they can all score well on their day, but Giroud hasn't played too well recently. Of course, Werner has got 1 goal in 19 games now. Tammy Abraham as well has looked a bit shaky recently. And the thing is, they all offer different things. We talk about Giroud being the best hold-up play striker in the world, which makes it even harder to compare Abraham and Werner to him for the same quality. Werner, arguably one of the best finishers, of course, not in current form. But, like you said, Jamie, he did need a few chances in the Bundesliga with Leipzig, but he was a very good finisher, and he still is. Tammy Abraham as well, it's that awareness, being in the box. So each striker offers their own individual aspect, and that's why not only do we not know who should be our starting striker right now, but neither does Tuchel. So we need time to decide and to really realise who should be leading the line for Chelsea.
100% agreed. Shout out to Anirudh, who always joins in my streams, man. Bring Haaland to Tuchel Fortress. That's it, my man. Yeah, and the thing about Roman, he don't mess around. He don't mess around. If he wants Haaland, he will get Haaland. He'll break the bank. He'll do whatever it takes. And he'll get this done. But hopefully, with whoever we already have in the likes of Giroud, Tammy, and Timo Werner, we do find a solution for this particular season at least. Guys, before we talk about the whole Thomas Tuchel, how he sort of played this match, because I want to end it with that. I want to just quickly talk about the substitutions. Just quickly, his tactical substitution that he makes, I love it, man. First of all, Jimmy, I really like the fact that he took away Callum Hudson-Odoi at the particular minute when he did and brought in Pulisic, even though I don't know if Pulisic really worked out in this match, but I like the thought process that he was looking for a little bit more of super sub kind of performance from Pulisic off the bench. Really go at them in the counter attack because Spurs were coming in. And then obviously when Kante came in as well with Kovacic, I do realize what you said, Jimmy, in regards to perhaps we invited them Spurs to come on a little bit when Kante came in, but I thought maybe defensively he covered. He gives us that insurance, I suppose, in the back. And who's the third substitution? There was another substitution.
Conte for Kovacic.
Conte for Kovacic, Pulisic for Cho. Oh, and then obviously Andres Christensen for Silva because of injury. But yeah, Jimmy, your thoughts about how Tuchel is looking at the substitution situations? Like, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was in his first press conference, he was asked after the Wolves game, why did it take him so long to use subs? And he said, well, I've only got 3. And I haven't really watched Liga, so I watched Tuchel a lot for Dortmund, a lot at Mainz as well, not as much for PSG. So I'm not sure, but it would seem that Liga actually has 5 substitutions at the moment then, I'd expect.
Yeah.
So massive substitution, because the thing is, under Tuchel, you might argue that Pulisic had his best games coming from the bench. Yeah. And, he's not an impact sub all in all. He's a great player. We saw it when he did that one mazy run where, if he would have brought it to Timo Werner a bit earlier, or I can't remember who else there was, but then maybe would have had a...
Yeah, he had two players on side. He had Timo, and then I think he might have had, I can't remember, maybe Mason Mount on the right.
Yeah, so that... Okay, he should have done better there, but he was threatening. He was able to, like Kovacic, dance past several players, and he just knows how the system works. And I'm guessing that's why Thomas Tuchel was saying, I'll use you as an impact sub. I know what you can do as a sub at this moment in time because you were great when I was at Dortmund. He knows his qualities. He has to test out what this squad can do, because let's not forget, Frank Lampard was still looking, what was my best lineup until even we have to give to patience. So he is able to, of course, use this his subs more aggressively. Pulisic was certainly that, and completely honest, I can't remember which subs he made against Burnley, but that one where he where he hooked off Tammy Abraham, that worked out. Exactly. So I guess that is the way he's going to do it for now. So Pulisic fans, or fanatics, because we're all Pulisic fans, he's a Chelsea player, but Pulisic fanatics, be calm, give it time. He knows what he can do. That's why he's using him sparingly. He needs to know about these other players. His substitution usage is good. I like that. I like aggressive substitutes. That's something that I really was lacking under Lampard. His in-game management wasn't good on point in that department all the time. There were some good instances where he made some good subs, but maybe the experience factor, which has been spoken about so often, but Tuchel has that experience and he knows how to use his subs. So that is a good aspect to have.
100%. I can't complain about his substitutions from Wolves games to Burnley game to now this game against Spurs. Shout out to Richard Coffey, a Spurs fan is right here in the house. We need a whole new backline. Davies, Dyer, and around 7 other players have got this. It's the worst I've seen Spurs play in 37 years as a Spurs fan. Boys, there was some rumors apparently if obviously now Jose has lost this. A lot of the Spurs supporters actually want Jose gone, and I was talking to Matisse's channel yesterday. I was saying that, do some of the players within them sort of believe this as well? Kind of much like us when we were going through that situation with Frank Lampard. A lot of the fan base started to get divided, and then we started to say, do some of the players actually start thinking that maybe Frank's not the right person, and maybe Spurs are in that particular crossroads now where I think this is their 3rd loss in a row, I believe. Liverpool, Brighton, and now Chelsea. So, whether their players are sort of thinking about that way. Do comment about that, Richard. Let me know what your fan base is thinking about that. But moving now straight along to the whole Thomas Tuchel discussion before we wrap this up. Nishal, I've been so impressed with Thomas Tuchel. I don't know what else to say. Defensive structure looks brilliant. The way we are hustling, the way we are pressing, every game, as I said, that we are getting better and better. And his tactical setup, the way he's using Callum Hudson-Odoi as a right wing back at sometimes, today as an inside forward, bringing Alonso back into the whole frame of things and using Alonso predominantly as a left wing forward. Do you know what I mean? Not for his defensive qualities or his build up or his quick play, which he doesn't have, but purely just using him as a left wing forward, someone who just has the ability to stay on the left side, in and around the box, and hopefully scores a goal. The way he's done the double sixes and getting the best out of Jorginho and Kovacic, and all of a sudden these two players look like, we can't replace them. There's no way you can have a midfield without them. The way Mason Mount is now having a different dynamism about his play. Everything defensively strong. By the way, 3 clean sheets in Thomas Tuchel era. Wolves, Burnley, Spurs. So we've not conceded yet after 3 games. Nishal, how do you feel about this particular manager, and knowing that he's got some very strict objectives this season in order to trigger an extension, because this man, he is going for the top 4 big time?
I'm really happy with Thomas Tuchel. I'm full of praise from what I've seen. He has been excellent, got everything down perfectly. He had a big challenge. He came in, and of course we've been playing 4-3-3 all season. And he was very brave to switch to a back 3. Yes, we did need a change in formation or in tactics, but to completely change, ditch a back 4, bring in a back 3, revive Antonio Rudiger, Marcos Alonso, even Jorginho, you could argue. Very
all
brave
the
moves. All the fringe players have all come back, especially after all the controversy we saw, whether that's true or not. But Tuchel has been superb. Defence, you cannot praise that enough. Defence has been the biggest issue for me under Frank Lampard, even this season, where we seemed to get it together. We had Thiago Silva come in, and we did look much better. We were still conceding goals. And when Thiago Silva couldn't play, when Azpilicueta couldn't play, we still didn't look solid enough. But now, 3 clean sheets in a row. Eric Lamella's shot, which Mendy saved, the first shot on target we have faced in the Tuchel era. That's it. 1 shot in 270 minutes of football is just unbelievable. And the fact we brought a back 3 in. I remember how brilliant it was to watch a back 3 under Antonio Conte. And we're seeing signs of that. And I'm drawing parallels a lot between them because, of course, under Conte, a key part of that was the wing-backs, Marcos Alonso and Victor Moses. And we're seeing the same now. Marcos Alonso and either Reece James or Callum Hudson-Odoi. So Tuchel has been superb. There's a lot of positive signs. He couldn't have started better. And as we said, February is a huge month. Got the FA Cup tie next week at Oakwell against Barnsley. We've got a huge Champions League tie in Madrid against Atletico Madrid. We've got Manchester United at the end of the month. It's a big 3 months, and as you mentioned as well, if he wants that 2-year contract extension, he's got to work for it. But we've seen very, very positive signs from Tuchel so far.
100%. Jimmy, I had Aiden. I'm not sure if you know who Aiden is. Aiden, one of the really well-known sort of respected Chelsea, one of the accounts in our community. And he said it perfectly. He said that in this particular month, these are the important matches that are coming up that will basically let us know at, start of March, whether we're in a top 4 race or not. This win now brings us very much closer to Liverpool. Liverpool got City up next. Are you completely believing now that we are 100% in the mix now for the top 4, and we could possibly get one of those, in regards to either Leicester or Liverpool or even Man United? I think Man City are probably clear from the rest. Are you sort of thinking we've got a top chance now to come back into the top 4 frame of things?
No, I think we have to curb our enthusiasm a bit. It has been a fantastic start. And
I love it. You're just bringing me back to earth.
Look, it's fantastic to be over the moon and rave about this system. But first of all, and it's a great feat that that was our, like Nishal said, our first shot on target from a team. but we've played against 3 teams that have been quite literally packing 10 men into their box. So let's just curb our enthusiasm a bit. When we come up against, the more attacking teams, then we will actually see how this system works, because I still don't think that Thomas Tuchel is going to be using this 3-4-3 all the time. I thought it was great that in our first game, and I'm not quite sure who of you said it, but he turned it around to a 3 at the back. But the way he did it, Callum Hudson-Odoi at wing back, I think if you would have put a quid on that, you'd be very rich at the moment. So that was very, very brave, and kudos to him. But still, it was a fantastic winter day. Burnley, no team's easy, and that's the thing. We have to curb our enthusiasm, because the higher we fly, the harder we fall. That's something that we should be very much aware of in the Premier League. Look at where West Ham are. They are flying. Moyes has never been a bad coach, and he can bring this team into the top 4 race, apparently. Leicester City, big team nowadays. The usual top 6, as much as we laugh about Arsenal, and that lose yesterday was exquisite. You can't completely say they're out of this race for the European spots either, because it's just that close. Apart from Man City, they will presumably win the league this year. And
they've got a game in hand as well, Jimmy. They've got a game.
Exactly. So we're not going to win, and Thomas Tuchel was very clear about that immediately. So we're definitely in top 4 race, because like 8 teams are apparently, but it's far more too premature to say we're going to get top 4, or we're definitely in this for the long run. I'm not sure who you were talking about before. No offense, of course, but
fair enough.
He was of course right. This month is huge, but then again, so was today. So was the game against Burnley. So was the game against Wolverhampton, and all the losses we had before that, because it's just that tight. So we have to treat, and this is quite a stretch, because we've got a very long schedule, a very, very grueling schedule this year still, but we have to treat every game as if it were a final. That's pretty much it, because it's just so competitive, this league. It's great that we're getting all the attention, all the great coaches, all the great players, but then again, for Champions League football, it's a big ask, and we can't just throw money at it. And so, Nish, Miz, I was very much against the appointment of Thomas Tuchel. That I very explicitly said it was never because of his way of playing. This is still a honeymoon phase. Thomas Tuchel is a chronic clasher with hierarchy, and I mean, it'd be great if he wouldn't do it here. Maybe he's learned, but the Chelsea board's just. I think we can leave it there. So that's the kind of thing that we might have to deal with in the future. But for now, everyone's concentrating on the football. The way he's setting up is great. I'm really looking forward to when he surprises a team, and suddenly, everyone's reckoning with playing 3 at the back. Conte, he's stuck to his 3 at the back. Lampard, he's stuck to his 4-3-3. Tuchel, he'll go, ha! Got you, and he suddenly plays 4-2-2-2. That's kind of thing that Thomas Tuchel does. So that is very enjoyable. He's always done that, to be fair, and we'll just have to enjoy the ride as it is, and let's just hope that we score a few more goals in the next few games, so that we're not, biting our nails up until the 93rd minute.
No, for sure, man. Well said. Look. You're right. We need to calm down. I think I'm just excited that we've beaten Spurs, London Derby, and we're back in it. But you're right. We need to stay calm. We've got Sheffield United up next, and Sheffield, they've been doing all right. They've just beaten Man United. They've also beaten, I can't remember, they've just beaten someone recently again at home from a comeback. West Brom. So they're going to be, up for it. So every game, as you said, Jimmy, is going to be very, very, it'll be like a cup tie for us. But in regards to what you said, and I completely remember in my stream when you said that the only thing you sort of worried about Thomas Tuchel is him clashing against the board. I'm not sure if you saw his interview recently where he was doing it for Chelsea, and they asked him this, that, Thomas, you've got a history of clashing with the board. You're a bit of a moody person. And he pretty much said, look, sometimes what happens is he admitted, he said, look, I need to learn as well. I need to understand that maybe I can't do that. I need to learn from my experiences. But he said that the reason why sometimes that happens is because he's got an ideology, the board has an ideology, and when it doesn't meet, the frustration comes out. But then he said that sometimes maybe some of these battles you can't win and you just need to just carry on. And I hope he sort of understands that sometimes certain battles he probably won't win, and hopefully in those instances he can check himself. The other thing is the short-term contract, Jimmy. I think the short-term contract will most likely get the best out of him because he won't have anything to think about besides achieving the objectives, because his contract is littered with incentives. He has to get X, Y, and Z things ticked off before he, triggers off extension and bonuses. So I think all of that will keep him on the toes, hopefully, and we'll continuously see him, try and better the team. So guys, off the back of that pretty much wraps us our match review. Fantastic. 190 people logged on right now. I want you to do two things. First of all, go and follow Jimmy. Go and follow Nishal. Their link is in the description right now. Follow them in Twitter. Very, very good people to follow. Obviously, Jimmy's got all the things going on with We Ain't Got No History, website. Nishal's got his own blog, so please do that. The second thing, smash that like button, guys. 183. Get me to at least 100 likes in this particular stream. Take the opportunity to do that right now. So, guys, hope every one of you guys have enjoyed this particular review. Just some final words, Nishal. Hey, any messages to say for the team or anyone else?
I mean, you can't help but not be excited after that game and after those 3 games. That's our honeymoon period, as you said, Jimmy. And we've seen lots of positive signs. We can defend. We can score goals. We can win games. We can manage games. There's so many positive signs that we've seen and that we've looked at. And as I said, it is going to be a huge month, a huge final few months in the season. But we are well and truly in the title race. It will be tough. It won't be easy. Anyone can beat anyone. That's football. That's the Premier League. But it'll be very interesting. But I hope all of you at home have enjoyed watching today. As Miz said, you can follow me on Twitter at Nishal_SP. And you can check out all of my work on nishalsblog.com. But I hope you enjoyed the stream today.
Brilliant, brilliant. Jimmy, some final words from you, my man.
Yes. So we're going to need some organ transplants for Thiago Silva. Everyone just call it so that he can just stay on the pitch the entire time. No, in all earnestness, my final words, I really want to say, please, Thiago Silva, be fine. But of course, also thank you to you two guys. Very much enjoyed the stream today after such a fantastic and important win. If you want to follow me on Twitter, by all means, thank you. Jimmy Funnel, CFC. Haven't been able to be too active on We Ain't Got No History as much as I'd like to, but that will come in the near future again. That's pretty much it. Thanks again for having me on, Matt and Miz, and great talking to the both of you.
No, brilliant. Shout out to CFC Dubois, the enigma, I suppose he every time he tweets, I just see him get 500 likes within the first 2 minutes. Shout out to CFC Dubois for joining in. But yeah, that pretty much wraps us up, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, see ya.